The Lady of the Bedchamber is the title of a lady-in-waiting holding the official position of personal attendant on a British queen or princess. The position is traditionally held by a female member of a noble family. They are ranked between the First Lady of the Bedchamber and the Women of the Bedchamber. The equivalent title and office has historically been used in most European royal courts. History. In the Middle Ages, Margaret of France, Queen of England, is noted to have had 7 ladies of the bedchamber. The 3 married one were called Domina and the 4 unmarried maid of honor. Their task was simply to act as the companions and personal attendants to the royal woman. In a description from 1728, the task of the ladies of the bedchamber was to act as the go-between for the queen and the women of the bedchamber, who had the task to wait upon the queen by helping her wash, dress and undress, and so forth. A woman of the bedchamber worked independently from the lady of the bedchamber and did not take orders from her. However, if a lady of the bedchamber was present, a woman of the bedchamber would always defer to her. If a lady of the bedchamber was present when a woman of the bedchamber arrived to dress the queen, for example, she would not dress the queen herself but instead give the garments to the lady of the bedchamber, who in turn helped the queen put it on. The procedure was the same in other issues. The post of a lady of the bedchamber was considered prestigious, and the appointments have therefore been subjected to controversies. In 1839, concerns that Queen Victoria was determined to surround herself with wives of Whig politicians led to the bedchamber crisis, preventing the installation of a Tory government under Robert Peel. Earlier, Queen Anne appointed Sarah Churchill, Duchess of Marlborough, to this position. The Duchess was widely considered a royal favourite. List of ladies of the bedchamber to the Queens of England. This is an incomplete list of those who have served as Lady of the Bedchamber in the British royal household. Ladies of the Bedchamber to Elizabeth I, 1558 to 1603. 1558 to 1565, Catherine Ashley, Lady Ashley. 1559 to 1569, Catherine Carey, Lady Knollys. 1568 to 1599, Elizabeth Stafford. Ladies of the Bedchamber to Henrietta Maria of France, 1625 to 1649. c. 1625, Elizabeth Conquest, daughter of Sir Richard Thimmelby of Irnham, married Sir Richard Conquest of Houghton Conquest. 1626, Lucy Hay, Countess of Carlisle. Ladies of the Bedchamber to Catherine of Braganza, 1662 to 1688. 1663 to 1667, Catherine Stanhope, Countess of Chesterfield. 1663 to 1673, Barbara Palmer, Countess of Castlemaine. 1663 to 1681, Barbara Howard, Countess of Suffolk. 1663 to 1688, Mary Villiers, Duchess of Buckingham. 1663 to 1688, Jane Granville, Countess of Bath. Ladies of the Bedchamber to Anne, 1704 to 1714. 1702, Duchesses of Dormond. 1702, Marchioness of Hartington. 1702, Countess of Burlington. 1702, Countesses of Scarborough. 1702, Lady Spencer. 1702, Duchess of Somerset. 1702, Lady Hyde. 1702, Lady Freshville. 1702, Lady H. Godolphin. 1702, Countess of Abingdon. 1702, Lady C. Boeverwood. 1704 to 1714, Abigail Massam, Baroness Massam. 1704 to 1712, Anne Spencer, Countess of Sunderland. 1704 to 1714, Anne Venables Bertie, Countess of Abingdon. 1712, Lady K. Hyde. 1712, Countess of Abingdon. Ladies of the Bedchamber to Caroline of Ansbach, 1714 to 1737. 1714 to 1717, Louisa Berkeley, Countess of Berkeley, 1714 to 1717, and Amp, 1726, Diana Beauclerc, Duchess of St Albans, 1714 to 1717, Henrietta Paulet, Duchess of Bolton, 1714 to 1717, Mary Montague, Duchess of Montague, 1714 to 1724, Mary Cowper, Countess Cowper, 1714 to 1726, Adelaide Talbot, Duchesses of Shrewsbury, 1714 to 1737, Elizabeth Sackville, Duchess of Dorset, 1717 to 1717, Elizabeth Montague, Viscountess Hinchingbrook, 1718 to 1721, Barbara Herbert, Countess of Pembroke, 1718 to 1724, Henrietta de Albuquerque, Countess of Grantham, 1718 to 1737, Elizabeth Harvey, Countess of Bristol, 1718 to 1720, Hanscott, Countess of Deloraine, 1722 to 1722, Jane Capel, Countesses of Essex, 1724 to 1737, Frances Seymour, Countess of Hertford, 1724 to 1737, Sarah Lennox, Duchess of Richmond, 1725 to 1737, Anne van Keppel, Countess of Albemarle, 1725 to 1737, Henrietta Fillmore, Countess of Pomfret, 1725 to 1737, Mary Herbert, Countess of Pembroke, 1727 to 1737, Henrietta Louisa Fermor, Minor 1737, Dorothy Boyle, Countess of Cork, Ladies of the Bedchamber to Augusta of Saxe-Gotha, 1736 to 1763. 1736 to 1736, Annie Howard, Countess of Effingham, 1736 to 1764, Anne Ingram, Viscountess Irvine, 1736 to 1739, and Amp, 1742 to 1759, Charlotte Byng, Viscountess Storrington, 1737 to 1772, Lady Charlotte Edwin, 1743 to 1772, Frances Lumley Saunderson, Countess of Scarborough, 1743 to 1772, Maria Howe, Viscountess Howe, 1745 to 1772, Elizabeth Berkeley, Countess Berkeley, Ladies of the Bedchamber to Charlotte of Mecklenburg-Strelitz, 1761 to 1818. 1761 to 1768, Diana St. John, Viscountess Bolingbroke, 1761 to 1770, Elizabeth Percy, Countess of Northumberland, 1761 to 1784, Elizabeth Campbell, Duchess of Hamilton, 1761 to 1791, Elizabeth Howard, Countess of Effingham, 1761 to 1793, Elizabeth Thynne, Viscountess Weymouth, 1761 to 1794, Alicia Wyndham, Countess of Egremont, 1768 to 1782, Isabella Seymour, Countess of Hertford, 1770 to 1801, Mary Darcy, Countess of Holderness, 1783 to 1818, Elizabeth Herbert, Countess of Pembroke and Montgomery, 1784 to 1818, Elizabeth Harcourt, Countess Harcourt, 1791 to 1818, Elizabeth Townshend, Viscountess Sidney, 1793 to 1807, Elizabeth Brudenell, Countess of Cardigan, 1794 to 1818, Jane Stanhope, Countess of Harrington, 1801 to 1818, Mary Parker, Countess of Macclesfield, 1807 to 1813, Henrietta Stanhope, Countess of Chesterfield, 1813 to 1818, and Dundas, Viscountess Melville, ladies of the Bedchamber to Adelaide of Saxe Mining, and 1830 to 1837. 1830 to 1837, Emily Nugent, Marchioness of Westmeath. 1830 to 1837, Arabella Burke, Countess of Mayo. 1830 to 1849, Marianne Wellesley, Countess of Mornington. 1830 to 1834, Anna Loftus, Marchioness of Ely. 1830 to 1837, Emma Brownlow, Countess Brownlow. 1830 to 1837, Lady Harriet Clinton. 1833 to 1836, Harriet Howe, Countess Howe. 1836 to 1837, Harriet Baker Helroyd, Countess of Sheffield, ladies of the Bedchamber to Victoria. 1837 to 1901. 1837 to 1838, Louisa Petty Fitzmaurice, Marchioness of Lansdowne. 1837 to 1838, Louisa Lambton, Countess of Durham. 1837 to 1841, Maria Phipps, Marchioness of Normanby. 1837 to 1841, Anna Russell, Duchesses of Bedford. 1837 to 1842, Sarah Littleton, Baroness Littleton, then Governess of the Royal Children. 1842 to 1850. 1837 to 1842, Frances Noel, Countess of Gainsborough. 1837 to 1851, Emma Portman, Baroness Portman. 1837 to 1854, Anne Caulfield, Countess of Charlemont. 1838 to 1840, Blanche Cavendish, Duchess of Devonshire. 1839 to 1839, Elizabeth Campbell, Marchioness of Breadalbane. 1839 to 1842, Mary Montague, Countess of Sandwich. 1840 to 1854, Anamp. 1863 to 1865, Carolina Edgecombe, Countess of Mount Edgecombe. 1841 to 1845, Catherine Murray, Countess of Dunmore. 1841 to 1867, Frances Jocelyn, Viscountess Jocelyn. 1842 to 1842, Susan Brown Ramsay, Countess of Dalhousie. 1842 to 1843, Charlotte Fitzalan Howard, Duchess of Norfolk. 1842 to 1855, Charlotte Canning, Countess Canning. 1843 to 1858, Elizabeth Wellesley, Duchess of Wellington. 1845 to 1864, Elizabeth Cuff, Countess of Dessart. 1851 to 1889, Jane Loftus, Marchioness of Ely. 1854 to 1897, Anne Murray, Duchesses of Athol. 1854 to 1900, Jane Spencer, Baroness Churchill. 1855 to 1863, Maria Bosville MacDonald, Baroness MacDonald. 1858 to 1878, Jane Alexander, Countess of Caledon. 1864 to 1890, Elizabeth Cavendish, Baroness Water Park. 1865 to 1895, Susanna Inniscourt, Duchesses of Roxburgh. 1867 to 1872, Eliza Agar Ellis, Viscountess Clifton. 1872 to 1874, Blanche Burke, Countess of Mayo. 1873 to 1901, Eliza Hay, Countess of Errol. 1874 to 1885, Julia Abercrombie, Baroness Abercrombie. 1878 to 1901, Ismania Fitzroy, Baroness Southampton. 1885 to 1901, Emily Russell, Baroness Ampthill. 1889 to 1901, Cecilia Dornay, Viscountess Down. 1890 to 1901, Louisa MacDonald, Countess of Antrim. 1895 to 1901, Edith Bulwer Lytton, Countess of Lytton. 1897 to 1901, Antonis, Duchesses of Roxburgh, Ladies of the Bedchamber to Alexandra of Denmark, 1901 to 1925. 1900 to 1910, Alice Stanley, Countess of Derby, 1901 to 1910, Louisa MacDonald, Countess of Antrim, 1901 to 1925, Louisa Atchison, Countess of Gosford, 1901 to 1905, Edith Bulwer-Lytton, Countess of Lytton, 1901 to 1911, Cecilia Harbord, Baroness Suffield, 1901 to 1907, Alice Douglas, Countess of Morton, 1901 to 1912, Mary Parker, Countess of Macclesfield, 1901 to 1905, Maud Petty Fitzmaurice, Marchioness of Lansdowne, 1905 to 1910, Maud Petty Fitzmaurice, Marchioness of Lansdowne, 1905 to 1910, Constance Ashley Cooper, Countess of Shaftesbury, 1907 to 1910, Cecily Gascoigne Cecil, Marchioness of Salisbury, 1910 to 1914, Winifred Harding, Baroness Harding of Penshurst, 1910 to 1925, Maud Petty Fitzmaurice, Marchioness of Lansdowne, 1910 to 1925, Cecily Gascoigne Cecil, Marchioness of Salisbury, 1910 to 1925, Alice Stanley, Countess of Derby, 1911 to 1925, Cecilia Carrington, Marchioness of Lincolnshire, Ladies of the Bedchamber to Mary of Teck, 1901 to 1953. 1901 1902, Ida Bridgman, Countess of Bradford, 1901 to 1910, Mabel Ogilvy, Countess of Airlie, 1902 to 1910, Mary Cochrane Bailey, Baroness Lamington, 1905 1906, Constance Ashley Cooper, Countess of Shaftesbury, 1905 to 1936, Ida Bridgman, Countess of Bradford, 1906 to 1913, Constance Ashley Cooper, Countess of Shaftesbury, 1910 to 1916, Mabel Ogilvy, Countess of Airlie, 1910 to 1917, Mary Cochrane Bailey, Baroness Lamington, 1911 to 1916, Ethel Grenfell, Baroness Desborough, 1911 to 1936, Mary Elliott Murray Kinnaman, Countess of Minto, 1911 to 1953, Margaret Russell, Baroness Ampthill, 1913 to 1924, Emily Fortescue, Countess Fortescue, 1913 to 1953, Constance Ashley Cooper, Countess of Shaftesbury, 1916 to 1924, Ethel Grenfell, Baroness Desborough, 1916 to 1953, Mabel Ogilvy, Countess of Airlie, 1924 to 1929, Emily Fortescue, Countess Fortescue, 1924 to 1936, Ethel Grenfell, Baroness Desborough, 1936 to 1940, Mary Elliott Murray Kinnaman, Countess of Minto, 1936 to 1952, Ethel Grenfell, Baroness Desborough, Ladies of the Bedchamber to Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, 1937 to 2002. 1937 to 1947, Mary Wilson, Baroness Nunburn-Home, 1937 to 1972, Cynthia Spencer, Countess Spencer, 1937 to 1941, Dorothy Wood, Viscountess Halifax, 1937 to 1994, Patricia Smith, Viscountess Hambledon, 1941 to 1945, Beatrice Ormsby Gore, Baroness Harlech, 1945 to 1967, Beatrice Ormsby-Gore, Baroness Harlech. 1947 to 1979, Catherine Lumley, Countess of Scarborough. 1973 to 2002, Elizabeth Beckett, Baroness Grimthorpe. 1994 to 2002, Elizabeth Lumley, Countess of Scarborough. Ladies of the Bedchamber to Elizabeth II, 1953 present. 1953 to 1966, Fortune Fitzroy, Countess of Euston. 1953 to 1973, Elizabeth Coke and Q.T. York, Countess of Leicester. 1960 to 1966, Patricia Neville, Marchioness of Abergavenny. 1966 to 1987, Patricia Neville, Marchioness of Abergavenny. 1967 to 1971, Esme Baring and Q.T. Harmsworth, Countess of Cromer. 1967, Sonia Fairfax, Lady Fairfax of Cameron. 1971 to 1993, Esme Baring and Q.T. Harmsworth, Countess of Cromer. 1973 present, Virginia Ogilvy, Countess of Airlie. 1987 to 2005, Patricia Neville, Marchioness of Abergavenny. 1987 present, Diana Marion, Baroness Farnham. 1987 present, Richard Elton and Q.T. Gurney, Baroness Elton.